First time that I even heard that Furiosa was a movie, I got a text from Edgar Wright, and he just said, George Miller wants to speak to you. And I had a feeling that it was going to be about this world. He asked me to do a speech from Network, which was the I want you to get mad speech, which makes a lot of sense.
Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.
It was actually really wonderful to deliver that monologue specifically at that point in time, because it's very much, I want you to open up your windows and yell. And we were in the middle of COVID and I desperately wanted to open up the windows and yell. I showed him how rageful I could get.
Whatever you have to do, however long it takes.
I did not rewatch Fury Road before the audition, but I did rewatch the first 10 minutes of that film pretty continuously throughout filming, not to pick up on any kind of performance, but exclusively to see how the film was made. The average length of a shot in Fury Road, I think, is about 1.3 seconds. Our shots are longer, but understanding how all of these images were going to be woven together to fit the greater whole was really important. Physically becoming Furiosa took, I think I trained for about a year, and I still don't have my license. So the first thing I learned how to do in a car was a Juicy Lift 180, and then I started the motorbikes. And I trained pretty hard, like I did a lot of weights, and then once I got out to Australia, I realized that I didn't need to train anymore because my day-to-day job was going to train me for it. If you want to get fit, throw yourself on a war rig, get underneath it, to the side of it, on top of it, you will come out ripped. I don't think I allowed myself to think about crashing anything because usually you're driving directly at a camera and it's usually manned by somebody. And so I just attempted to be as astute as I could be and get as much sleep as I could to make sure that I had my wits about me. The makeup was so much fun, particularly thinking about the evolution of the character. You know, we begin with a character that we don't necessarily recognize so much. I was so excited to shave my head for this movie. George very quickly said it's not going to work with our schedule and the fact that we have to follow the character throughout so many different stages in her life. It was just an incredible prosthetic. And we also had a prosthetic that I could actually shave off because that was something that was really important to me. There was a prop that we gave more importance to as filming went on, and I really wanted to shave my head with that prop. And so George added a scene and we did it. But that is such hard work. That's every single hair hand woven into a skull cap. Finally, when I did end up in the get-up and garb, it was really exciting because when I stepped out of the trailer, everybody was just like, wow. And I was like, yes, it worked. That was about 6 hours in the makeup chair. What I find really funny about the progressive gnarliness, as you say, is I don't have a very clean career. If you look at my track record, I've been pretty dirty and pretty bloody. This film is on another level. Like, I think there were 8 levels of grime at my dirtiest that we went through every single day. It was pretty wild. George Miller is so on top of everything. I say that he paints his scenes because I really do mean that. Absolutely everything that you see on screen has been hand-selected, hand-painted by George. There were moments where my schedule was crazy on this movie, and when I wasn't on main unit, I was on second unit, and you could do 12 takes of something and send them off to George for him to review, and then he would send back a note saying, do it all over again because her hat has to be 2 inches off of her forehead, not 1. That's the level of detail that we're talking about here. And it was a really extraordinary experience as an actor because I feel like my job is to be able to either hide or telegraph the way that I'm feeling based off of a whole array of instruments. And for a large portion of the film, George had such a specific vision of how he wanted me to hold my face that he only really gave me my eyes. And that can be terrifying as a performer. But if you're going to do that, you do it with George Miller and you do it in Mad Max. I did as many of my stunts as I was allowed to do. That was something that was present in the first conversation I had with George. But I also have the most incredible stunt double, Haley Wright, and she and I trained daily. We shot a sequence called Stowaway to Nowhere for about 8 months. And it was 8 months of daily work. If I was not on main unit, I was on second unit shooting Stowaway to Nowhere. And without giving too much away, it is a journey of a set piece. And when I finally got on top of the war rig, I was so happy because I didn't have to be underneath it anymore. So I think when I finally got to jump on the carbonator, I was just like, yes, okay, I'm here. It's so exciting that this movie's going to Cannes. The first and only time I've been was to receive a Chopin Award from Charlize Theron. It's kind of crazy that I'm going back with this film now, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited to be there with everybody. And they love George Miller so much that I think that's going to really add to the specialness. I literally finished Furiosa. I went on a press tour for my film The Menu for 2 weeks, and the day I landed back in LA, Denis called me and said, get on a plane, you're coming to Namibia. And it was beautiful because we finished off on the beach and the last thing we had to do was scale the dune back up again. And if you've ever walked in sand, you know that it's hardcore to do that. And they had just finished an epic movie. I was, just coming off of Furiosa, and I think by the time we crested the dune, we were just like, oh my God, we did it. We did it, we're alive. I think the most heartwarming thing about The Secret of Dune is we all kept it for Denis. Denis desperately wanted to pull this off, and if you've met him or you admire him, you know that he is just the most wonderful person, and his energy towards filmmaking is so infectious that the idea that there was only 12 people in the world, most of that being the skeleton crew that we took to Namibia to shoot this scene, that we were all sitting on this secret, that was really exciting and thrilling to be a part of.
Đăng ký kênh để đồng hành cùng chúng tôi.